Take a look at the supply and demand picture. It actually looks negative.
Well, we have a number of things happening. The economic fears, China, U.S. tensions, which actually have nothing to do with the oil business, but they are creating a sympathy price downwards. And oil prices are mindlessly following the equities. So this is definitely just sympathy. There's nothing real to it. People worry about whether OPEC and non-OPEC can get together and not, or not, whether there will be a meeting and whether there will be discord. So that is also fear. But there is something real in all these things. The demand for oil has fallen a lot. Maybe 400,000 barrels per day lower than we expected. So that part is real. The other two are imaginary. OPEC is totally able to pull together this group, and with the help of the Saudis, they can keep it in the $65 to $70 second half of the year.
The question is whether Trump wants it at that price. Because the last time Trump intervened and asked OPEC to bring down the prices, they did.
Yes, but we understand the Trump ceiling is $70. We also understand that Mr. Putin's ceiling is 60 to 65. So where the prices are at the moment seems to meet everybody's ceiling. And so also lower oil prices mean that people are scared of getting out of the deal. All of the Russian complaints that I want to go on my own and now will be subdued when you have fear of prices dropping another $5, $10 a barrel. And then lower prices also stimulate demand. So in a way, where the prices have come down may be in a situation which helps everybody.
Fereidun, who calls the shots in OPEC? I mean, it's so dysfunctional right now, and some say the Russians are actually the ones calling the shots.
Well, the shots are called by the Saudis and backed by the Russians. These two are now the king and queen of OPEC and non-OPEC. So they are the ones which call the shots. But, we cannot call OPEC dysfunctional, because if there was no OPEC, the prices could go $80, $90 and come back to 40. The volatility would be much worse. We all need OPEC to keep a reasonable band. Even if it fails to do it every time, it still gives us a band that we can function.
Fereidun, Rish in Hong Kong. Now, tell me, we've been hearing a lot of perhaps a bit of antipathy, a bit of a fallout between Riyadh and Moscow on oil. What can you tell us about that? And are rumors of this or the actuality of this greatly exaggerated?
No, the rumors are not exaggerated. We have this situation. In Russia, of course, the final call is Mr. Putin. But when you have President of Rosneft writes a letter to Putin and says, please let us get out of this deal. Of course, you don't have to write to Mr. Putin. You can just tell him. But all of these things are optics to tell the rest of us that the Russians are not happy with this deal. But they were not happy when the prices were over $70. Now that prices are $60, I think everybody would fear that if I pull out, repercussions would be serious. So my guess is that after some complaining, the Russians will go along and everything will be rolled over. But please remember, even if the Russians don't play, the contribution is small. The Saudis can make it up in 5 minutes. The whole idea is to do it in such a way that the optics are good. So even if they don't want to do it, if they do it softly and they produce more, OPEC can live with it and Saudis can compensate.
So Fereidun, tell me, what are the fundamentals looking like overall when you have a look at what's happening? Because we had that inventory report out of the US that really spooked things, and the oil price fell, I think, the most in a couple of months or something like that. Tell us.
Well, obviously, yes, you're right. The inventories were falling and falling and falling, and we're supposed to go to 5-year average by early June, but they didn't. Inventories were built, and part of it because the demand declined. The demand has declined substantially in the US, substantially in China, and around the world, the average growth rate has fallen from 1.4 million barrels per day to 1 million barrels per day. So it takes a bit longer for the balance to come. And you keep the discipline, by the end of June, early July, you will get the discipline. I think that everybody, including ourselves, we miscalculated the weakness of demand. But everything else is all worries and sympathies about things which are not yet real.
Have we seen Iranian oil supply fully disappear from the market?
We have the nominations for the Iranian oil in May and June is 0. Exports are about 300,000 barrels per day. 50% fuel oil being smuggled through Fujairah, and another 150,000 barrels per day rebranded as Iraqi oil. So about 300,000 barrels per day still goes out. So we lost from 1.3 million barrels per day in April, we went to 1 million barrels per day now. But remember, Iranian oil is still on the water. The real impact will be met towards the end of June.